Right. Let's get this started, I think. Yeah. Yeah, we're good. So, boom, boom. Hey, hello everyone. How's it doing? How's it going? I'll probably give it a couple of minutes, wait for other people to come in that wanted to be here. But thank you so much. Hey Loxley, how's it going, mate? I see you there. Hey, haven't seen your name in a while. Welcome. Anyway, so as you're aware, this video has got the word troll in it. So we're going to expect some nasty comments in the chat. But to be honest, I'd rather you say it down in the comments where it's going to stay on the video, because if you say anything in the chat, sometimes the chat doesn't replay and it's totally like, you know, there's no thing to it. Do you know what I mean? So you might put something here now in the chat, and then when the video's finished premiering, when we finish going live, sorry, then yeah, it ain't gonna stick. So do it in the comments down below. But yeah, basically once a week I'm going to allow everybody to roast the shit out of me and just tell me what they think and just put whatever they want, and nobody's going to ever get removed in the troll videos. Like, I'm not going to hide people from the channel, which is what I usually do if somebody comes in and is properly evil or says something that is way over the mark, and it's like, I can't allow that on my channel. Then I hide them from the channel, or I remove them, I ban them basically. So, but that won't happen during these videos, okay? So, hey, you're all right. Okay, let me get straight to it. So in this video, I also really want to do, and by the way, this is a video. Got you, trolls. I've pre-recorded this. I'm not live. Gotta have fun, mate. You gotta have fun. Do you know what? Trolls' lives matter, okay? And they need their outlets too. But we don't have to make it easy for them. So yeah, anybody who's watching this during the live, this ain't live, okay? I just pretend that it was live, okay? Right. So moving forward, total transparency, no lies. I feel like I need to just do this for myself. So this is really more for me than for anybody else. But I just want to bring people up to speed with a lot's happened to me over the last like 5 years. And I really want to sort of walk people through my life of the last 5 years, because it's changed dramatically. It's been a roller coaster, honestly. It has been worthy of a novel, like a biography, like a film. Do you know what I mean? Seriously, it's been crazy. So I just want to, you know, tell people what's been happening with me for the last 5 years. But I got to go back a little bit further, because for me, it really started, I think, with what's happened to me back in 2013. Okay, where was I? I was living in Chester with my ex-wife, and we just had our third, Roman. Okay, he was just born. For me, things were going great. I got 3 kids. I had a job working at Tesco, I think, on the tills, you know, customer service. And for me, life was good. You know, basically just getting busy with a family life, with something that I would always wanted or always seen in my family, because I come from a very large family. Family was, and I drilled into me, family is the most important thing, you know? So I always just wanted my own family, and I was so happy when we had our first, when we had our surprise second, and Roman third. We had our ups and downs in our relationship with my ex-wife, but for me, it was always knowing is as long as we're just sticking together, we can get through anything, you know. Anyway, 2015, I think it was, rolls around. By the way, I just watched The Wolf of Wall Street in 2013, and I was like, oh man, do you know what? If I really want to provide for my family, I need to own my own business, because that way I can make my own money. okay? Because that way I'm not defined, my lifestyle ain't defined, what I can provide for my family isn't defined by a single company. It's defined by how much effort I put into it, you know. You'll have to excuse the hair, by the way. I literally just woke up, okay? So for me, it was like, after watching the Wolf of Wall Street, I was like, I need to own my own business, you know. I was completely, you know, taken by that film, not because of the lifestyle he had, but because of the choices he had, you know, being able to provide for others, you know. And to me, I was like, yes, all my uncles are owning their own business, tradesmen, you know, they're like builders, electricians, plumbers, stuff like that. And yeah, in me, it was kind of drilled in at an early age as well, is that if you work for 8 hours, you sleep for 8 hours, you play for 8 hours, you know, and you do it for yourself, then you'll have a long, happy life, you know. And it's like kind of true. If you do find a job that you enjoy, it's like you don't have to work a day in your life. You know, it doesn't feel like work. So I set about then becoming that and doing that. And I think I hooked up with the Chester City Council at the time, and they basically helped me set myself up in self-employment. And it was, for me, the best thing, because I was doing something I enjoy. I was doing photography at the time. So I was doing family pics, pets, weddings, just anything really, and going around my neighborhood, door knocking, literally, trying to set this business up. And, you know, it was hard at first because you get a lot of rejection. That's just life, you know. But you got to keep going forward. Never give up is my motto. So I just kept on doing it. Now, there were some days you just don't really want to go out and do it, and you try and find other things to do. For me, which was like set the website up, set the Facebook page up, which that's still going, by the way, but the website isn't really so much. And yeah, it was, so I found it hard at the beginning. The first like 6 months was really hard. Now, there's one thing I've got to mention here, because it's going to come back to bite, is that prior to, I would say, maybe between the years of 2009 to 2013, but it never really bled into 2014 and 15, and I don't know why. There was a time previous to all this that I'd actually broken up with my ex-wife, and I'd lived separately from my kids, and this was way before Roman was born, and I think it was just after Charlie was born that I lived out. We'd split up, and I'd lived out, and you know, I can't remember how that broke up happened, really. That I don't really remember that now. But anyway, I lived on my own for like 2 years before me and the ex reconciled it, and I moved back in. And actually, it was through the help of a member at work, a friend of mine who also knew Anna through I'll cut that. Who also knew my ex-wife through the school, because the kids go to the same school. So, but during this time of breakup, I think it was about 2 or 3 years that I lived away. Obviously, my ex-wife started new relationships. I'd started new relationships, and I'd met this woman who I found going through my phone one day. So I was like, "Get out of here! You're gone. You know, we're over. I'm sorry, but that's just distrust completely. Like, literally, I go to the toilet, I come back, and she's going through my phone. I'm like, fuck off." We break up. And then over the months, we just stay friends, though. Like, I still, talk to her. We still chat because we have a common interest of movies. Anyway, moving forward again. And again, through the years, whenever there was times when me and my ex-wife were having difficulties, I found myself after work going to chat with this woman, which was my big mistake. Nothing was happening, sexually, but just going around and we were talking like I would do with a person who lives 2 doors down as well, because when I wasn't getting that companionship of communication, talking from my ex-wife, I needed that to be able. I just needed to be able to talk to people. So I did. I went to talk to other people, and they could have been dudes. Like at the same time, I was talking to people at work, but they happened to be women, and it happened to my ex-girlfriend, which that was, looking back, not a good idea. Anyway, moving forward, started my own business. Okay, and worked my way up to the point where I could now open my own photography studio, where I thought that was actually a valid. And I was watching loads of things that would help me, people who inspired me in the photography world, and I knew exactly what type of photography that I wanted to do. I wanted to do more sort of movie-themed photo shoots. I didn't want to really do weddings and stuff like that. I wanted to do ones that are actually themed around the movies, because that's what I love. So I started to do that, and I started to do like movie posters where you put the person in it as a movie poster. But to be honest, at that time, back in 2015, I think it was 2014, sorry, nobody really wanted it. It wasn't a thing back then like it is now. I guess I was too early, but I found it really hard to sell that to people, because they were so stuck with, oh, I want weddings, and they got to look like the classic wedding album, you know? And they were only beginning to experiment with wedding photography in terms of doing things that were a bit quirky, but mainly not interested, you know? So anyway, 2015, my son brings to me a tablet, and it's like the Amazon Fire tablet, and it's got my ex-wife's Facebook Messenger open to it, and there's like a conversation between my friend at work that is very disturbing, you know, coming to your wife, as it were. And I scroll back in the history, and I start seeing pictures from the shower being sent and being received, and I'm like, what? Turns out that she was getting very, very close to this guy, and he in turn was not, you know, I mean, he was totally two-faced, because to me, he helped me get back with her, you know, and then he is seemingly to be going behind my back and trying to get off with her, you know. I mean, that was just crazy for him to do that. Like, I don't know what mentality that brought on, you know, to move in on somebody else's, you know, woman. Like, that's just weird. And it all happened under my nose, because I was too busy setting up my business, setting up my studio, which was due to open in the summer. And we're talking like it's now February, March, April, something like that. And by the time the summer does roll round, and I have to go to work every day knowing that my ex-wife is rather being with somebody else than me. And by the time that the studio is about 2 weeks from opening, you know, my ex-wife turns to me and says, you need to leave this house now. It's no longer appropriate that you're still here if we're not together, you know. And I was just in a state of shock, because I just learned this news. I wasn't actually looking to break up or anything, but, you know, she was like, yeah, you've got to go. Basically, we're no longer together now. I want to be with him. And I'm like, so, and I think also it stemmed from, there was a massive argument thing about that woman that I mentioned. She had been sending emails to me, and sending, I guess even contacting my ex-wife. She basically, since we broke up, was still wanting to be with me, you know, and became very stalkery about it. And I guess it didn't help that I had still gone to see her, you know, every now and again. When me and my ex-wife were having bad times, I would go around after work, which I didn't finish till 12 midnight. So 12 midnight, I'm showing, I mean, looking back, it's totally ridiculous, but it wasn't in the moment. I wasn't doing anything. So it was like I was just talking to people. But I guess looking back, you don't do that if you're married. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway, basically, she then started accusing or saying that we'd been having this affair ever since we'd broke up, and that we were sleeping with each other. And she even got her daughter to like confirm all this. And I'm just like, oh my God, you know, I'm trying to run a business here. I haven't really got time for this shit. But I addressed it anyway, because my wife wanted me to. So we confronted her one day, and she was like, yeah, we've been sleeping with each other all this time and all this. And I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Why are you saying this? Why are you telling my wife this when it isn't true, when it hasn't happened, you know? And she was like, yeah, but, you know, I got emails or whatever. And to be honest, about a week later, she did send me an email to apologize for everything that she said and that it wasn't true. And for what she'd put me through. She just wanted me back. And she thought that was the best way around it. I even showed these emails to my ex-wife. But my ex-wife just said, yeah, you need to bin them and delete her out of your life, you know? And this was all before the finding of that message in, you know. So I quickly learned that when I moved out and she started seeing this guy, I quickly learned that I have a feeling that the reason she was quick to believe those lies was because she herself was going behind my back. And anyway, it wasn't a very pleasant time, and I was trying to open a photography studio at the same time as all this was going on. So I really wasn't in a great frame of mind, and now I'm homeless. So I move into my photography studio, right? I move into my photography studio and, you know, live in there for like, and it's not a place where you're supposed to do that, you know. It's like a warehouse almost, you know. And I had a business partner who owned a comic book shop. So the comic book shop was in front, my photography studio was at the rear. The customers came through and we shared customers, and it was great. We had a really good time doing all that, to be honest. And he also had a tattoo shop just around the corner. We really had fun during those days of setting up the studio, but the first like few months of it was really tricky. From August to December, it was still finding its feet with customers, and you know, it had ups and downs, but by Christmas, he basically said, I can't afford to be a partner in this photography studio. You're going to have to take it all by yourself, and I'm going to take back all the equipment that I've invested in. And we split things down the middle. So I supplied all the photography equipment. He supplied the aesthetics. And together we built this studio and shared its profits. But for the first few months, there were none. It was literally just making its own money back to pay the rent, which for the next, I think it was October, November, we actually had to put in money from our own pocket. I mean, it was the first business that I'd properly run, so I'd learned a lot, and I was learning a lot back then as well as a business person. I was, you know, going through so many courses and, you know, watching so many videos and learning all this about just running a business. Anyway, he backed out and then he blocked off the studio. And I'm really kind of condensing it down because, to be honest, I'm getting cautious of the time here, you know. He really did back out and left me alone with it. And by that time, I had moved in with somebody. When I was setting up the studio, I was doing test shoots with my equipment. And there was a girl who came in. She was a lesbian at the end of the day, and she befriended me, and we got chatting, and she offered me a spare room when she found out I was living in the studio. She was like, you can sleep in the spare room I've got. Turns out she'd split up with a girlfriend, right? So she was a single person, and I was living in her house, and like a year later, within a year, we were dating, like we were going out, and it all happened like really fast. And looking back, it was just like, how and why? Like, why did we end up dating? Because she was into girls, not guys. But it became clear why, you know. Anyway, so I thought life was good because, you know, I'm with somebody who wants to be with me at the end of the day, and I still see my kids every month. Although we found it really hard, you know, sort of. Now, for a moment, then I thought I was streaming. We found it hard to begin with because I lived drastically far away from where it was like it took them 3 hours on the bus, because I didn't drive at the time, but it took them 3 hours on the bus to get to me, and I didn't like that. So we started doing it by car journey, where, you know, I would pick up, and my ex-wife, who was with somebody with a car, would drop off. And stuff like that, and my ex-wife did then find, by that time she did find somebody who, like, by the way, that person that she did that thing with, they soon broke up, right? Worth it. And she got with somebody who she stayed with until almost last year, or this year. So I'm glad she was happy at the end of the day. You know, she's happy, that's fine by me, you know. And yeah, to be honest, all I wanted to do was be with my kids and my wife. That was it. That's all I've ever wanted in my life. That's it. Full stop. Anyway, you deal with life, you move on. So dealing with life, moving on. With me and this girl now start making a life of our own, and I start my photography business back up, but as a solo, Adam J. Pestridge Photography. Boom, that's it. No names, because it was called Smile Studios before. Nothing like that. So I just started doing weddings and solo shoots and business shoots. They were the main ones, business and thingy. And through the business one, I offered free business packages to 5 people to kickstart it off. So I had some, examples. And one of the business people who said, yes, you could come photograph me, was somebody in the future who I ended up dating, okay? But at the time we were doing this, it was just I'm photographing another business, okay? And me and my current girlfriend, we go on holiday. We live a life, basically. We have actually pretty fun life, to be fair. We go to the cinema like once a week. We chat. We have laughs. I mean, to be honest, great girl. Got nothing against, And then she fell pregnant. Like, nothing wrong with that either, by the way. But she fell pregnant, and it was a bit of a shock because we weren't trying for a baby. It's not like we wanted babies, but she fell pregnant. And at the end of the day, I'm sure she told me at the time she might have been done, but like looking back, I don't know. Actually, I think we were trying for a baby. Sorry. Yeah, I think. Well, not trying, but like we were okay if things happened. Thinking about it. Because I don't remember like wearing protection to guard against pregnancy, and I don't even remember thinking I needed to, which makes me think she either told me she was done, which I don't think she would. No, she wasn't done, and she wasn't on the pill, so we must have been trying for like, okay, well, if we have a baby, that's whatever. But I don't really remember a conversation as having like, oh, we need to try for babies. That didn't happen, and we weren't actively trying for a baby. Anyway, she fell pregnant. That's great. That's fine. We have a baby. And then she turns into somebody else, right? Not like, obviously during the pregnancy, yes, she turns into somebody else because she's pregnant. They always do. That's fine. I'm prepared for that. I've had 3 others. But after the baby's born, she becomes distant. I'm sleeping downstairs. Like I basically sleep downstairs now because she can't have me next to her in bed. So I'm thinking, okay, for the time being, we will work through this, So I'm sleeping downstairs, and then during the night, I'm doing all the feeds. So I then sleep during the day when she comes downstairs. And it's honestly, it was a really weird time because she was just acting like she didn't want to be with me. And I'm like, what's going on? I thought we were all happy before. And like, I know pregnancy does change a woman's mind, but not to the point where they want to break up with you now. And we have a conversation one night. We go to watch Sully, the film, and there's a scene in it, and it just spoke to me. It's like the person you're with should know who you are and should know your needs, and should know your desires. And if they don't, then who are they to you? Like, why don't they? Why don't they know who you are and what you want? If they love you and care about you, they want to know this information. So I sat down and I was like, do you know what? Are we actually right for each other? Because you were in a girl relationship before, and now you're with me, and we're about to have a baby. So it's like, do you actually want to be with me? Do you really? And anyway, she was like, well, we're over then. Just like that, we're over then. And I'm like, and I was kind of thinking that she would actually want to say, yeah, I do want to be with you. I really do, and I'm going through a bit of, whatever. But she didn't. She literally just said, okay, we're over then. Bye-bye. And I'm like, okay. And this was literally a month before the baby's born, okay? And we're no longer together. And I'm now living with her, and I'm looking to move out, by the way. I'm looking for my own place whilst she's about to go have a baby. I mean, it's totally absurd and backwards, right? But she didn't want to be with me at the end of the day. And I'm like, I can't force myself on people, I mean, it did turn out that she was only with me for the baby, literally. Like, I haven't seen that kid since. I haven't spoken to her. She's blocked me out of her life completely, right? And she was just with me for the baby. That was it. She got what she wanted, and then I was finished with. And she didn't do it with like, oh, by the way, we're finished now. She waited until I addressed the situation because of the way she was treating me. So I addressed it as a conversation, because that's what you do. You communicate with your partner. And then she was like, well, we're over then. So she just wanted a baby from me, and I probably was in a very weak and vulnerable position where she could have. So anyway, I moved out and I just carry on with my life, but I'm also chatting with the people in business, you know, still trying my photography business to push it forward. I'm actually living now in like a bedsit that's supposed to be an office, but I'm using it as my home, and I'm surrounded by, in fact, the room is smaller than the room I'm in right now, and all my stuff is here, and it's literally boxes around me. I look like a hamster in a cage, seriously. And basically, one of the business people that I had done this photography work for, we started talking. She actually helped me move some of my stuff, I think, and we became good friends. And about 6 months after I moved out of my girlfriend's place, so I was living 6 months in this place, we started being more than friends, and we started dating. And I think it took another few months, and she was like, I can't have you live where you live. I'm sorry. You come live with me, because I can't have you live there anymore. And I'm like, okay. I didn't really think anything of it, because, to be honest, where I lived was a right shithole. You know, the floor was sinking in at places. There was a hairdresser's, which was my landlord, right next door. So I heard everything from there, and I'm sure they heard. I was wearing headphones, so they wouldn't hear me play music or anything like that. It was an electric meet. I mean, it was the worst place you could possibly live in. Everything was just not working or broken, you know? And I had all my stuff there. So I honestly don't know how I survived there. I lived there, I think, in just under a year in total. Not even that. And oh my gosh. Anyway, so I moved in to with my girlfriend now, my current girlfriend, and I'm just looking back on my life going, the last few years has been a roller coaster. And it ain't even started being a roller coaster yet, guys. Seriously. The best is yet to come. So, and it turns out she only lives up the road from where I live. I didn't even know this, but she literally lives up the road. So moving my stuff was very easy. In fact, I think we did it all in her car. And so I move in with her, and yeah, I'll finish off the rest of my soup here. It's going to go old and stale, man. Anyway, so we started dating. I'm doing my photography business. I've also set up a publishing business to where because I started when I started my photography business, I actually started a production house as well. Because the idea was I could do wedding films. So that production house would be in charge of the wedding films. My business, photography, would be in charge of the photography of it. And they'd help support each other. So I was actually writing scripts for shorts as well. I wanted to film some shorts. So I started filming shorts, and I was preparing to make a little movie as well with this production company. And I was actually in talks with one of my sort of celebrity, that I looked up to when I was a kid, Ian Livingston, who is head of the Games Workshop, co-creator of the Fighting Fantasy. And I was in talks with him to do a TV series based off the Fighting Fantasy books. And he gave me the rights to basically go around to get the money for the pilot. To say that I have the rights, he basically said, yeah, tell them that you have the rights to make this pilot, and that you have the full backing, and show me what you can do, and we'll take it from there. And I did this pilot really kind of like quickly. I should have involved other people when I didn't. And I did this pilot, sent it off, and I never heard anything back, but the pilot still exists. It's literally just like a 10-minute short of a scene to give the flavor of what could be. it's a shame, really, because the ideas that were, or the things that were being laid out for that TV show meant that it would have been, honestly, like on the level of Game of Thrones type of, Vikings type of TV show with that kind of budget, and it be basically Lord of the Rings, the TV show. That was basically what it was going to be. It's a shame it never took place, because I think that would have hit home mega with a lot of people. And I even designed it to have a spin-off series. So anyway, I mean, all the plans for that are still written. They're all still there. Like, I had to do a proposal from my production company to Ian Livingston to propose what the series were and what books were going to be used. They were all the books going to be used and incorporated into an actual story, but it never came to be. Anyway, doing my business with my photography, with this new girl now, we started to have the same interests. She had a business, so she wanted a better life, and so through that we started our own business, events, and we started hosting events. We hosted an ABBA tribute night. We were hosting wedding events. We actually started to host like the main wedding fairs for the northwest of England in Chester, where we were our company was the one that hosted them all. And we went round town to town doing wedding fairs, like really successful, honestly, to the point where Anfield Football Studio got in contact with us and asked us to host their northern wedding fair that they wanted to do. And we were like, cool. And we met with Anfield on several occasions to organize this, and we got to we were in their exclusive VIP area. We got to overlook the whole football ground, which was being refurbed at the time, and it was like, wow, and we had to pinch ourselves. We were like, we're really here dealing with Anfield, and they want us to do the wedding fair, and we were like, we can do this, it's not a problem. But the only problem is that Anfield said football is our main thing, so that's always going to come first, and at any given moment we could pull the plug on this wedding fair because the football season fixtures come in. They might clash with the date that we arrange, and so literally they said anything up to the day before the wedding fair, it could get cancelled. And we're like, well, that's not practical as a wedding fair. You can't do that because you need to advertise it like months ahead to get the audience to show up. You need to get all the businesses in place. That takes weeks of preparation and planning. That takes like up to a month to plan, or 2 months even, to plan these businesses who all pay to be there to get the customers to come in. I mean, it's Anfield. Everybody's going to want to be there, and so it's going to become a magnet for not only businesses, but also for wedding couples. It's going to be the major one they go to. So it's going to be really busy. And if you suddenly, 3 days before the wedding fair is about to happen, say it's cancelled, you're just going to look like idiots. And then in turn, it doesn't look good for our business. And they were like, well, that's the way it is, I'm afraid. And we were like, well, unfortunately, we can't work with those terms and conditions. You're going to need to go find someone else. Which I don't think they ever did. I don't know if they ever actually did arrange that. But I was like, you need to take the wedding more seriously if you really want to showcase that stuff. And you need to allow that for in your timeline. Like, you need to know the date that you can have exclusively for a wedding fair and not have to worry about the football. Like, football is obviously your primary business. Anyway, it didn't work out. We left. Then my girlfriend started doing really weird things. She started using the company's money to pay for personal things for herself. And I'm like, well, you can't actually do that, by the way. I can't steal money from this company to buy myself things, so you can't do that either. We can use the money to buy things for the business, but we can't just take the money for our own. That's called embezzlement, to be honest. That's illegal. Anyway, she kicked me out when I confronted her on this. She basically said, get out, we're finished. And I'm like, are you serious? I'm like, but you can't steal money from the company. Anyway, she didn't want to listen. She kicked me out. I was now homeless, living in a hotel, right? For a month I lived there. 2 months, sorry, I lived there. All because she could not handle the truth of you're not allowed to steal money from your own company. Anyway, we started reconciling things. We started talking. And we did end up going back together. Now, I really don't know why, because she hadn't changed a single bit. she still was very angry and very, that I basically could not work with her professionally if she still thinks that it's okay to use your company's money for personal use. Like, I don't do that in my business. You can't do that in a business. You can't do that. It's illegal, So she was basically like, well, I don't know. I don't get it really, because we stayed together, but she still didn't like that fact that I confronted her. So it became very difficult living with her, to the point where we literally, by the last 2 weeks, we were living like flatmates. It wasn't like it was before. And which, by the way, we did have a happy life. Like, I thought literally I'd found the person who I wanted to be with in this person. Everything you needed was in that woman. And except for the fact is, I have a feeling she was undiagnosed bipolar. I don't know. But she honestly would have these moments of just going schizo and throwing me out of the house. And literally, there was one time I was ready to pitch tent in the woods, and she came back, she was like, I'm so sorry, that's not what I want, and proper, looking back, proper playing with my emotions, and I just was so in love with her, I just let it be okay. Anyway, the final nail in the coffin was when she wanted to sell her house. And I was like, really? You want to sell this place? Oh my gosh. She wanted to sell her house because she lived right next door. I'm missing loads out, by the way. She lived right next door to her parents, who hated me. Or her mom didn't, but her dad hated me, wanted to kill me, because he preferred her ex boyfriend, who was the father of her daughter, and wanted them to be together. So he really hated my ass. Made it difficult for me to live there. And we lived right next door to each other. So anyway, I think it all just built up to the point where she came in one night with her daughter's family, right? And was like, "You're leaving this house now." What? Excuse me? Where does this come from? Yeah, you're leaving now. Get your things and go. And I'm like, okay, sorry, where's this come from? Why is this happening? And she started going proper mental at me. She honestly went for my throat in front of them. They had to hold her back. Like, she had lost the plot by this point. Like, literally, all I wanted was to be with her. Like, that's it, without the drama. But she, I don't know, I guess she got with me because of who I was rather than who I am. Like, internally who I am. She saw what I had in terms of the businesses, starting this TV series, filming all this stuff with the weddings and all the businesses. And I was at least building a life, and I think she saw that more than she saw me. And then when it started to fall apart for her, in terms of we started our own business, and she was making choices that I couldn't be there with, I think it was like she felt maybe abandoned or something. I don't know. But anyway, she basically kicked me out. Now, I was I was beginning to drive, so I had my provisional license. So I didn't have a proper license, but I knew how to drive. I'd bought a car, and yeah, it's like I basically had to drive myself down from North Wales down to Birmingham at night illegally, with all my stuff in the back of my car. Like, and it wasn't even all my stuff, it was just what I took with me. I'd literally recently bought a flight simulator PC, the PC that I've got now, with a load of flight simulation gear. Like, I'd bought that, although that the money that I'd used that for was my own money. It wasn't money from the company. So yeah, anyway, I mean, out of the shock of all that, I moved in with my mom. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm sick and tired of bloody women for the time being. The last 3 are basically shit on me. Like, and I don't know. It was like, okay, so she wanted my money. The one before wanted my babies. Like, my ex-wife has never really wanted anything from me. Like, she was the only one, really. And I think she still is the only one who knows who I am and knows and gets me. But for whatever reason, she don't want to be with me. I don't know. It's like, I have no issue with being with my children, my wife. Like, no, it's the only thing I've ever wanted in my life, is to have my family. But anyway, you just move on. You take the punches and you move forward. Never give up. Anyway, this is the real killer now. By the way, I'm skipping over loads. Like, really, I'm condensing it down for time. If anybody's got any questions, I'm glad to fill in more blanks. So I basically moved with my mom for a bit. My grandma passes away, so my mom really needs me. My kids don't need me. My ex-wife has moved on with somebody who is really good, treats the kids good, so they don't need me. My mom and family need me. I moved down to Birmingham. Once the funeral's done and dusted, I get my own place. I move into my own flat, and I end up through where I work. Like I basically left all the photography. I stopped it completely. I wrapped up what customers I had with the wedding photography. And by the way, the photography was really successful. You know, it had made me the most money of my life, really. But I never really got to enjoy it because it all got invested back into the business. So I never really got any of it to myself, really, properly. It was all for the business. So I basically left photography and I started writing books. And because I had the publishing side of my business, I decided to use that to publish my own books. And I started to publish my own books. And I've so far published like 6, and there's loads more to come. I've got like 30 books lined up. I've just got to write them, you know. And it's ideas that I've had as a kid, as a teenager. So I've kept them all in this vault. I just got to write the books, seriously. So doing that, I meet a girl through where I work. We start dating, and a year later, I move in with her. I mean, again, I move in with them. It's like, but you know, when you're in, I mean, we did talk about it, and it was like, should she and her daughter move in with me, or should I move in with them? And basically, for space, her place was bigger, so we decided, even though it was cheaper to live at mine, and we could actually save for our own place easier living where I live, because hers was bigger, and we're condensing 2 flats basically into one. It's going to be easier at hers, and that's the only reason I moved in with her. Otherwise, she'd have moved in with me, and things would have been a lot different. I moved in with her. I start my YouTube channel up again, you know, start doing this. And honestly, we even started doing our own like little podcasts together because we've got the same interests: gaming, you know, films, enjoying life. You know, perfect partner. You know, because we have the same, and we had great hopes for the future. We wanted the same thing. We wanted to, you know, get our own place. That was important, to buy our own place, to settle down, to create a family for her daughter. You know, what could go wrong, eh? Well, anyway, her brother was going to get married, and he wanted everybody to go to New York for the wedding, so we were saving our money to go to New York. Now, I was working at the time at the cinema, which wasn't exactly paying loads of money. I just started writing and just started my YouTube channel, so they weren't really paying anything. So I was basically just able to give the rent and bills and provide my half of what we wanted. And I struggled to actually save for New York because of that. So I decided, well, I need to get a better job. So I looked to go and get a different job. And my sister at the time was working for a construction company. So I started training in construction. Something, by the way, I would never do. And I actually won't do, like now. I won't do that. But I did do that because I was prepared. That's what I was prepared to do, you know, to provide for who I'm with, you know. So I started training as a construction worker. I'm up to the point where I've just got to go take my exam, and I've got my card, my green card as it was, which allows me onto the construction site where I could start my job. And COVID happens, innit? Literally, as I'm about to go to my test, and it got cancelled because of COVID. So I never got my license. We never got my green card thing. And so now I'm trapped because I can't actually go and get another job. I'm stuck at the cinema. New York's fast approaching, although I think it's going to get cancelled, which it ended up getting cancelled. So it didn't really make any bit of difference about that money, which basically all the money I had saved, she kept. I said, you just keep that money. That, you know, you just have it. I mean, I only contributed like £300-400 to the New York trip. I think she'd done like $1,000 by then. But my contributions were very small because I only had really enough money to provide for my half of the bills and rent. And time, I didn't have enough time basically to get a new job basically to in order, you know. And I was doing everything I could to try and make some money to provide for this trip, but COVID happened, the lockdown happened, and now we're trapped. And I thought this would be good because we just get to hang out all day. We get to do what we want, you know. I thought it'd be great. Now, my ex-girlfriend works for the NHS, so at the time she was like, I'm working from home now, and I'm still continuing to work. And her daughter had to be homeschooled, so I was like, well, I'll take care of that. You do your work. Because I've got nothing else to do but YouTube videos. And I started doing my own YouTube videos because Wednesday to Saturday, her daughter goes to live with her dad. And then Sunday or Saturday night to Wednesday, she lived with her mom. And that even happened through quarantine. Like, I didn't agree with that, to be honest, but what happened basically is it created a bubble. Like, our two families were connected, so it was fine. But I, at first, was like, this shouldn't be happening. If everyone's not meant to be mixing, surely she ain't meant to be going anywhere. But not my kid, so I can't really say anything. Anyway, a week after homeschooling her, I got told, you're no longer going to be doing it anymore because she's my daughter, I will do it. And I'm like, yeah, but you're working, so I've got nothing to do. Yeah, but she's my daughter and my responsibility. And I'm like, okay, but that's a lot of work for you. And she goes, well, not really. I can do my work. And then she just cracks on with hers. And I'm like, yeah, but you need to be there in case she has questions or, you know, mark her work. And it's like, you can't just like leave her to it. There's a reason why there's a teacher at school. Anyway, she goes like, she's my daughter. At the end of the day, I couldn't help her. So, okay, fine, I'll get on with my YouTube then during the day. And she found it extremely difficult to do homeschooling and her own work at the same time. Her daughter was always asking questions. Her daughter, by the way, has to always have somebody around her. Like, she's at that age where she doesn't want to be left alone. So, you know, I've got my headphones on because, to be honest, they argue a lot. So I don't really like that. So I had my headphones on because I'm not allowed to say anything to try and stop the arguing because I get told off by my girlfriend. She's my daughter. So I've got my headphones on while they're arguing, getting busy with my own thing. Her daughter's constantly going to her mom asking questions because her daughter hasn't got anybody to talk to, you know, and so she starts creating these little problems so she can go to her mom and ask for help. She didn't really need her mom's honestly, I could hear what was going on. Like, I knew exactly what problems she had, and she didn't have any problems. She just wanted to talk to somebody, and her mom was busy with work, and it just a lot of stress on her mom now. Like, she really put a lot of pressure onto her mother, and I don't know why her mother did not allow me to help her. She just did not want me helping, and I just found that really weird. Anyway, so she's doing that. I'm doing my thing, and they're just continually arguing. And when my girlfriend gets into a state where she's angry, she literally goes for anybody. I mean, she was pulling knives on me. Honestly, she was doing things which I can't repeat on camera to her daughter, and I just didn't agree with any of this. And I'm like, you don't do that to your daughter, right? That ends now, and you need to calm down. You know, anyway, it got to a point where I had to ring the kid's dad, and say, listen, she's going mental here, mate. You need to come over and grab your daughter. And he was like, nothing I could do, mate. I'm like, you serious? Your daughter, I've said that honestly, she's going crazy and you need to take your daughter. He was like, I can't do anything, mate, in the position I'm in right now. I'm like, okay. I'm thinking maybe he's at work or something. Okay, put the phone down. He hung up on me. And I was like, what, are you serious, man? I've just told... Anyway, I just walk out the house because I'm thinking maybe it's me is the reason why she's going crazy. So I remove myself from the situation, and I give her like 2 or 3 hours, and I come back in and they're quiet. And in fact, they're laughing and joking like nothing has happened, which is a little disturbing from what I'd recently experienced. And anyway, it gets to a point where I don't think this lockdown was benefiting mentally my girlfriend at the time. And I think she had maybe mental issues anyway that were not apparent because life covered them up. You know, she had her daughter only half the week, which maybe now was the reason, you know. But I don't know. It was weird. Anyway, she basically turned to me one day and said, I don't want to be with you now. That's it. And we agreed on a date that I would move out. And here I am right here. I didn't get a chance to get a place sorted by the time it came to that date. I had the money for it. I just didn't have the landlord to say yes to my application. So I basically, my girlfriend was very stuck in the mud in that, yeah, you're moving out on that date. I don't care if you can't find a place, you're going. So I had no choice but to ring the council to say, you know, the city of Birmingham, to say, listen, I'm being made homeless right now. What choices have I got? I don't know. Like, I've got the money to rent a place, but nobody's saying yes to me. Anyway, they put me basically in this room here where I'm waiting to move into my own place. Again, just waiting for an application to say, yeah, there's a place available for you and now you can move. I think the reason why the landlords were saying no or not giving me the opportunity was because I don't have a credit history, and therefore it's just like you have got no, you've got bad credit, sorry, if you have no credit history. Having credit history, by the way, is very good. So I really advise for any new young person to go get a credit card. Don't spend it, but just have a credit card so you've got a credit history, that you're shown to be in good credit. Because if you don't have any history, the creditors, when they do your credit score, they go, we don't know this person, we don't know. And so it turns up like, yeah, by the way, the person who's checking your credit history is going to go, don't know, actually, it's a bit of a risk. Anyway, it goes against you. So get a credit history, guys. And yeah, that's basically where I'm up to right now. Now I'm under lockdown for the second time, but I haven't got any distractions around me, so I can focus all my attention and abilities. Man, this video's gone on way too long. I can focus all my attention and abilities onto myself, really, but also, which I don't, by the way, I actually focus them onto my hobby, which is the community of flight simulation. The software I use for flight simulation is constantly changing and evolving, and the change is difficult for a lot of people. So I'm helping people with their setups. I'm every day speaking to people and helping them, you know, make it better for themselves, but also the company Lockheed Martin, I'm helping them as well, trying to make their product better for the community as well. So I'm literally up to my eyeballs in testing flight simulation software and literally staying awake for 30 hours straight doing a test or trying to get one thing right. It's absolutely nuts. Literally, I've just now slept for 10 hours straight and usually I get 3 to 5 hours sleep, and I feel like a zombie right now, to be honest. But the day previous, I'd stayed up all night and all day testing this software, then did a live stream, which was the last live stream. Well, not the last one, sorry, because this is going to be released in about a week or so. So one of the live streams, basically, I'd stayed up for 25 plus hours before doing that live stream. Anyway, man, I need to sort myself. I need to have a shower and get all things sorted. But yeah, anyway, that's the story of my life up until now. I have skipped over a lot of details. Like, I haven't gone into detail on every single thing, because I'm not going to really do that to the person who it's talking about, because they'd probably get arrested. But yeah, that's basically what I've been through the last 5 years. Now, me and my ex-wife, we like a mutual respect, and like we've reconciled everything. I don't know how she feels about me, but she talks to me and helps me, and I help her. And honestly, we have a great relationship in that respect for the kids. And if I didn't have the kids, I don't think I would know her now. But I'm glad that I do know her. And I mean, who knows what happens in the future? You know, I mean, all I've ever wanted for my life is a family, and that is it. And to live in that family unit and raise my children with the help of my partner who I'm with at the time, you know, like whoever I'm with, as a partnership of 50-50 partnership, you know, that to me is the life I want. It's not the life I've been given. It's been very different because for some reason I'm not allowed to have that. I don't know. So, and to be honest, right, when you speak to people like females and you mention, oh yeah, by the way, this has happened to me, you don't hear from them back. So if somebody was to come on to me and I'm like, yeah, I'm not really interested, I just need to tell them the story of my life and I won't hear from them again. Seriously. I've had one person come on to me in the last month, actually, start up a conversation with me, looking really interested in wanting to meet me. I told them, by the way, yeah, I've got all these kids and this is the life I've had. Never heard again. Never heard back. Anyway, I mean, I'm not looking for a relationship, by the way. Like, definitely not. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go because this is like almost an hour, and you guys hopefully are gonna roast the shit out of me because trolls' lives matter, guys. That's the thing of this video. Trolls' lives matter. You know, if you're a troll, put it down in the comments if you're still watching by this point. Surely a troll would have clicked off by now and then just put "lot of rubbish video," because that's what they tend to do. They don't tend to watch the full video, but they comment like they have, you know. Anyway, I'm gonna go, guys. This is going crazy. So where's the stop button? There it is, guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye.